My name is Swami Satchidanand, and I'm one of the directors of the Energy Enhancement Meditation course. I'd like to talk a little bit about my bio. I started off at the age of 14 doing yoga, went to university, did a joint honours degree in physics, electronics and mathematics, and then went to work for a big international computers limited like IBM, working on mainframe computers, on the making, the testing of mainframe computers for quite a few years. And then I met up with two wonderful people who changed my life. The first one was called Zen Master Hogan from Japan, and from Zen Master Hogan I learned Zen meditation. I practiced with him. I had many psychic experiences. After that I moved on to Swami Satchidanand of Yogaville in the USA, and again many psychic experiences. The interesting thing about Swami Satchidanand was he was a Tamil Siddha. He came from the south of India, from Coimbatore. And interestingly enough, there are a group of spiritual people called the Tamil Siddhas. They all write poetry about meditation, climbing up through the chakras above the head with their pranayama and their meditation. And I think the first of the Tamil Siddhas was called Bogar. And Bogar was a guy who taught, he was the first guy who was an alchemical master, a master of alchemy. He had two students. One of them was called Patanjali, of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Please read my commentary on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali from our list of 43 books which I wrote, all about meditation and the techniques of meditation and why you need to meditate. And the other amazing guy who was a student of Bogar was called Babaji. Now, Babaji is a young boy, and he lives in the Himalayas, and he's lived there for 2,000 years. And Babaji teaches a technique of meditation called the Kundalini Kriyas. And he taught them to Yogananda, a very famous yogi who went to America and has a big estate in Los Angeles. The Kundalini Kriyas are a technique to contact the infinity of chakras above the head, to contact a source of infinite energy which flows to and through you. Bogar lived for 15,000 bodies, 15,000 lifetimes in the same body. He created a very famous temple called Palani Hill Temple in the south of India, with a door of 50 tons at the top of this hill, which was created by one of the Maharajas at the time. Very high up. They have a funicular railway to go to the top now, but you can still climb up the steps if you want to. And Bogar, it is said, decided to die one day. And when he did, he transmigrated across the ocean into China, into the body of a guy who became known as Lao Tzu. Now, Lao Tzu was the founder of Taoism. And the 5 circulations of the Qi, the technique of Taoist meditation, is exactly the same technique as the Kundalini Kriyas of Babaji, which is not surprising because the teacher of the Kundalini Kriyas, Babaji, was a student of Bogar, and Bogar himself taught in another body the 5 circulations of the Qi of Taoism. Now, alchemy is a part of the Kundalini Kriyas. It's not to be separated. Now, I was very interested one day when I saw a picture of the Kundalini Kriyas with, and this is on the front page. We made a picture, in Photoshop, of the infinity of chakras above the head, connecting into the head of a person, and then going down through the body, and through the body, to and through you, into the center of the earth, which is another part. That's the earth path of the 5 circulations of the Qi, to contact the center of the earth. And I was very interested when I saw this picture, which, what's the name of it? The picture was created by Dr. Thurman Fleet a long time ago. And it's a sort of a circle, and underneath it there's another circle, and the top circle is divided into 2, and the top part is the conscious mind, and the bottom part is the subconscious mind, going down to the other circle, which is the body with all the 5 senses, the 6 senses, whatever. So, when we're talking about a full picture of a human being, it's very nice to connect into that same picture of Dr. Thurman Fleet, the psychic body of the Energy Enhancement course. Because one of the major problems of human action, from the mind through the emotions to action, is something that we call energy blockages. And the full amount of energy blockages in a human being is called the ego. And it is the ego, or the paradigm, which prevents people from reaching their highest capacity. We can talk a little bit about programming the conscious mind with thought forms, good things, angels, and then by repetition, by mantra repetition, bringing those thought forms from the conscious mind into the subconscious mind, which is really the heart center, anahata center, the positive emotion side of man. Now, what is against this flow of energy from God, from an infinity of chakras above the head, down through the body, to and through you, is something that we call energy blockages, the paradigm. And an energy blockage is really an angel which has been coated with trauma. We call it a substance called trauma-formed karmic mass. It's possible to dissolve this trauma-formed karmic mass. It's a good thing to do it. And I also took a course a long time ago of acupuncture. I spent a year learning all the acupuncture. They say that fear is caused by an energy blockage. And if you needle that energy blockage, you can move it, you can change it, you can discharge it, and the fear will go. Each of the 5 meridians, the 5 elements of the meridians, has a different emotion, negative emotion, fear, anxiety, an excess of joy called manicism, anger, all of those things. Yeah, if you can't control them, they're really going to make your life hell. But the one I was wanting to talk about today, fear, you know, fear cannot be talked away. You can read all the books in the world, but it's not going to get rid of that fear. Fear is a substance which exists within you called an energy blockage. Now, I was wanting to talk about a guy by the name of H.P. Lovecraft. Now, H.P. Lovecraft wrote a whole load of books, which I read when I was a little boy, about cosmic horror. And there's a nice little placard of one of his quotes about fear. And it says, "The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear. And the oldest and strongest kind of fear is the fear of the unknown." H.P. Lovecraft. And he goes on from there to say, in another quote, "The basis of all true cosmic horror is violation of the order of nature, and the profoundest violations are always the least concrete and describable." H.P. Lovecraft. It's all about what happened to you when you went into the woodshed. What is violation? It's anything that creates trauma within you. And that trauma has been pummeled into so many people in this lifetime and in all their previous lifetimes that the traces of that horror, the traces of that fear, the traces of that trauma-formed negative karmic mass, the traces of those energy blockages reside within them, immovable, without meditation techniques to remove that fear. And this is where we get to the nub of the Kundalini Kriyas. This is where we get to the real meat of the 5 circulations of the key of alchemical Taoism. In those meditations, techniques of meditation, we talk about contacting the earth through the earth path of the circulations. But there is another first formula of alchemy, and it's in Latin, which tells you the age of the techniques, because these techniques came from India, they went to China, and then they came over into the Roman Empire when they were turned into Latin. Now, a very ancient formula is an acronym, VITRIOL. You know what vitriol is, don't you? It means acid, it means anger, it means hate, it means fear. VITRIOL, visita interiore terrae, rectificando invenies occultem lapidem. Latin. I will translate. It's a technique of meditation which will dissolve even the deepest emotion, the deepest fear, the deepest energy blockage. It allows the energies of God to flow to and through you, all through your body, without being stopped and bad things created like fear and anger. It allows that energy to flow down into the center of the earth, Mother Earth, the source of all Kundalini energy, and allows that Kundalini energy to flow up through you and go back into the center of the universe. Visita, visit. Interiore, the interior. Terrae, the earth. Invenies, rectificando. Occultem lapidem. Rectificando invenies, occultem lapidem. Occultem lapidem is the hidden stone which resides in the center of the earth. It is often called the philosopher's stone, which transmutes, according to alchemy, base metal into gold. And as we understand from Jung, alchemy was not supposed to be physical. It was a methodology of people outside the Catholic Church in very ancient times to escape the rack, to escape the Inquisition, to escape the burning in the square. Really, these guys were not talking about chemistry or physical things. They were talking about meditation. So when we're talking about base metal and when we're talking about gold, we're not talking about lead, base metal. We're not talking about gold, the physical gold. We are actually talking, when we're talking about lead or base metal, about energy blockages. We are talking about trauma-formed negative karmic mass, which always happens when you get trauma and creates something called anxiety, or in extremis, PTSD, which totally stops you from working. So when we're talking about base metal, we're talking about energy blockages. And when we're talking about gold, we're talking about the purification of this trauma, the purification of this trauma-formed negative karmic mass into something which is called pure, perfect, spiritual energy, which revives and imbibes you. It makes you feel wonderful when this horrible stuff has been transmuted, dissolved, changed into a pure positive energy which can then be sent back to God. This is Gurdjieff's reciprocal maintenance. So we're talking about very ancient techniques, very ancient formulas, which make sense in today's modern world of meditation to allow you to take that messy karmic painting of yourself that you're painting every day and transmute it into a clean white sheet. Rectificando, to rectify, to change the direction of the energy from down into the center of the earth to up, to send the purified energy from the fires at the base of Mount Orodruin, of Mount Doom, of the Lord of the Rings, where Frodo put the ring, the one ring, which mind controls everybody. And he placed it down into the fires at the base of Mount Orodruin, and he dissolved the ring, and he dissolved the power of the Dark Lord. Rectificando, send that purified energy back to God. Invenies, there you will find occultem lapidem, rectificando the energy, and send that energy back on the path of the soul. The soul is the first chakra above the head. So we're getting this circulation of the energy down from God, down the front of the body, down to the center of the planet. All the negative energy burnt up in the center of the planet, and the purified energy coming back through the body and sent up into the center of the universe. Alchemy, Bogar, Babaji, Yogananda, Zen Master Hogan, Bogar, Swami Satchidananda, one of my teachers, Tamil Siddhar from the south of India. So when we are talking about paradigms, when we're talking about energy blockages, then anything which is negative can be dissolved and transmuted into positive energy, thus making the implantation of positive thought forms from the conscious mind down into the heart, into the subconscious mind, an easier process. Sometimes we have to repeat and mantraize these positive thought forms thousands of times, days, months, weeks, years before we can see the results. But with the ability to get rid of those things which are preventing the implantation of the positive thought forms, we can speed up the process. Energy Enhancement Meditation is a video course which we created a few years ago, 75 hours. It has, in the first level, all the Kundalini Kriyas. But more than that, in level 2, 3 and 4, we move into a process even more powerful than VITRIOL, which is called the Energy Enhancement 7-step process, to remove even the deepest energy blockages. With energy enhancement, you can remove the deepest energy blockages, but also you can implant positive thought forms deeply into the conscious and subconscious minds to make these things work. My own experience of using a positive thought form was when I focused my third eye on this thought form using the 7-step process, and I grounded all the negativity in it that was preventing me from working with that thought form, I found energy blockages around it which I had to ground. And then the thought form was accepted very easily. It works. It works better. It works faster. It works more efficiently. And if the people who wanted to implant these positive thought forms within them wanted to use a higher technique than mantra, meditation, then it would be to their benefit tremendously. So, I think I will finish my talk at this moment by saying that the Energy Enhancement Meditation course is in 4 levels, 28 initiations, each of them with a video. Very simple to do. It's not rocket science, but in order to do it, you need to join the 5 o'clock club or the 6 o'clock club, because a daily meditation is necessary. It's not just fear that we're removing with this course. We are removing all the blockages, all the karma, the karma cleaning process of Energy Enhancement Level 3 is a fantastic thing to go through. You go through all of your past lives. As you remove blockages along the timeline, so sometimes, if God wants it, He gives you a vision of what caused the blockage in the first place and says, don't do that again. It's a wonderful process for you to go through. It gives you so much energy. It removes everything which is holding you back and allows the implantation of positive thought forms much more easily than with any other method. So, thank you very much.